Hi, I'm Mike Hughes, Next Level Training. Let's talk today a little bit about our SIRT Training Pistol. Our SIRT Training Pistol was originally designed really just for myself for high volume self-diagnostic training. The purpose behind it was to get a lot of reps in. I take it from a sports science perspective. You take any sport, any endeavor where you got to get a lot of repetition in and ensure quality of movement. So what we have with the SIRT Training Pistol is a resetting trigger so you don't have to rack the slide each time like you do with a lot of striker fired guns. And then you also have these shot indicating lasers. You have a prep laser, which is red when you prep the trigger, and a green laser when you break the trigger. Anyone that shoots a lot knows that trigger prep is a key feature for trigger mechanics and trigger control. So those features really help out in self-diagnosing if you're slapping the trigger or if you have that controlled prep and break. So even though the original gun was designed for high volume self-diagnostic training, what we found was in law enforcement and other venues, the defensive tactics crowds really took onto it as an early adopter. So the DT guys, they want to roll and integrate all their defensive tactics and work their pistol craft where they can actually put lasers, pull the trigger and actually use a little video camera and get those rounds on target on their opponent with proper safety checks, of course. The other areas of use we found with the SIRT is in scenario training. With scenario training, instead of having all the protective equipment, there's definitely a place for UTM and such, but there's all the pre-threat indicators are right in front of you with no protective equipment. The Class 3A lasers are safe on eyes because your blink response is quick enough before retinal damage. So you can actually, through proper safety checks initially, put rounds on each other and really get that training in high volume. Another emerging area with the SIRT systems is this fitness training. You're doing a WOD, you're doing your some kind of cardio. Well, just integrate your pistol craft. Get a little bit of strong hand only, a little bit of weak hand only, some reloads in. Get your heart rate elevated and work those fine motor skills. So the pistols are really built from the ground up, but what's interesting is the next evolution of the bolt. The bolt is actually a retrofit to your AR. The pistols are built from the ground up because they're completely inert. They're not a live fire gun. But the bolt is actually in the opposite direction as far as design, where it retrofits to your lower and your upper. The reason that is because everyone's putting all their money into their upper and their optics and backup optics and grips and backup sights. But we gotta be in a position to train with our AR-15 at high volume. So to do that, the little trigger bar fits onto the selector switch and it interfaces with the tail part of the trigger, and we just pop in our AR bolt, our SIRT AR bolt. You get an auto resetting trigger and it fires a laser through the barrel, so you get shot indication. Now this makes dry firing with your AR-15 orders of magnitude more enjoyable and you get a lot more feedback. There's some quick little training points. Just training the selector switch, going from safe to fire and doing that reliably and doing that subconsciously. Training your offset from your optic to your line of bore sight so you know where your offset is. You can adjust the laser through the ejection port and the mag well so the laser is adjusted to your optic at whatever prescribed distance you choose. So the SIRT systems, really if you boil it down in a nutshell, it's really to facilitate high volume self-diagnostic sustainable training. In pistol craft and rifle craft, honestly the biggest deficiency I see is we've got to train more. We've got to make sure that we have quality of movement whenever we train, that when we break that shot, that we actually have that muzzle alignment where we think it is after each shot we break. So that's super. I'm Mike Hughes of Next Level Training. You can check us out at nextleveltraining.com. Check out our products, search for some codes, get the product, and get it in your hands and get training.